Yes, we called it. It wouldn't take long before a big name brand would enter the open earbud space. Namaste, we're DHRME, dudes having resounding motivation for earphones. Okay, technically these aren't Bose's first pair of open ears, but Bose has given these the Ultra moniker, and that tells us they mean business. And thanks to a bunch of you, we heard about the Huawei free clip, so we bought those too. Let's get started. Yeah, everyone's gonna talk about the design. They're not semi-in-ears like the Samsung Galaxy Buds Live or the Sony Link Buds, or even over-ear using a hook system like almost all other over-ears from the likes of Shox, Oladance, or Soundcore. But these are like clip-on earrings, right? Well, they have this interesting barrel on a silicone flat wire that curls around your cartilage of your ear right above your earlobes. And I've got both of them on right now. Here's the Bose and here's the Huawei. Similar system, this one has a flexible cable, this one does not and just hooks onto your cartilage. And the way these work is with air conduction, a little speaker pointed towards the entrance of your ear canal. And there's definitely going to be a bit of sound leakage, and in our opinion, even more than a lot of open earbuds we've tested, and even more than the Huawei free clip. Now, why does this funky design even exist? Is it only a way for Bose to stand out and make a statement? Yes, but also for people who wear glasses and don't like the hooks around the ears. But boy are we glad Bose didn't plaster their logo all across the front of the buds. So it's a nice neutral look now. And the way you control the Bose are with good old buttons, one on each of those barrels. Track control and volume. There's a long press on both buds, but that's a customizable shortcut gesture. You can set it to cycle through modes or immersive modes, call up your voice assistant, and switching between Bluetooth devices. We'll get to that last one later. We're not a fan of how volume is a double press and you have to hold on that second press. Not intuitive at all. And you can't even change it in the app. Why not make volume a single or long press? It's probably the one control we use most often. Now the Bose is rated at IPX4, the Huawei IP54. Huge difference. Now the case is compact, which is great, and this is usually a hit or miss with some of the other open earbuds, but not the Huawei. That one's compact as well. There is a colored LED on the case and inside for each bud to indicate battery life. Not very colorblind friendly, but it is what it is. Also, there's no wireless charging. I know it's hard to find these on open ears because we've only come across the One More Fit S50 that had that, but the Huawei free clip has it too. Now, Bose's battery life is advertised at 7.5 hours if you're listening to it in normal stereo, or 4.5 hours if you're using it for immersive audio, and 19.5 hours from the case. Now, we tested that 7.5 hours on normal stereo and we got 9 hours. But batteries aren't the only thing we test here. Check this out. These are Bose's earring earbuds called the Open Earbuds Ultra. They've got this funky design and they clip onto your earlobe as such. They're IPX4 rated, you're fully aware of your surroundings, and oh yeah, this video was shot using the microphones on these earbuds. With cars in the background, a little bit of wind, and a little bit of rain. Welcome to the Netherlands. From that short we shot and from our day-to-day usage, we can conclude that the mics were not great. I was speaking relatively loudly in that short, and in normal calls, people had a hard time hearing me. I would often hear people say that I sounded like I was coming from far away, that I sounded tinny, and that there was background noise. But how do they do against the Huawei? Well, come see our popsicles, icicles, and test. Pop, popsicle. Ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, I had to listen to the samples right away. And I've got to say, I am confident enough to record this video using the Huawei free clip because it is night and day compared to the Bose. The Bose just sounds more processed, it's more far away, you hear more of the background noise. The Huawei barely seems to have any issues with that. Even with the car just that went by, I am confident you guys heard me perfectly fine. So yeah, pick the Huawei for mics. Do not pick the Bose. The only thing the Bose has going for it is that you can control volume on calls and the Huawei cannot. And in terms of Fachmann controls, you can answer, hang up, and there's volume control as well. No mute, unfortunately. Strangely, the buds worked flawlessly on Android, iOS, and macOS, but not on Windows. They would connect, but no audio would play from it, nor could they be selected as the audio and microphone device in Microsoft Teams. Now, moving to comfort. You really forget they're there. And this can be kind of dangerous. In case you would accidentally drop one of them, you wouldn't notice. Even though you really don't feel they're there, they're actually quite secure in terms of fit. And I couldn't get them to come off with any kind of head banging or running or jumping. So there's that.
Now, putting them on and taking them off is really easy. And they go into the case using magnets. Who doesn't like magnets?
And those magnets are strong and satisfying. The magnets are. We're talking about the magnets.
And these buds are excellent for small ears, big ears, heck, even our ears. Now, these are expensive buds. So in terms of extra features, you would expect a lot, right? Well, don't expect multi-point because Bose does not give you multi-point. You do get a list of devices in the app though, and you can switch using that list. And another way to do that is to set up a shortcut and configure the long press to switch through devices on either bud. This is something the Bose QC Ultra headphones also provide as a feature.
Good news though, you can pull connection from a previously paired device without having to put the buds into pairing mode or use that shortcut to cycle through them. And there's no wear sensor on the Bose, but Huawei has multi-point and a wear sensor. Moving on. Connection stability on the Bose was kind of iffy. There were times that the buds would reconnect or drop connection. It would recover on its own, and sometimes we needed to disconnect and reconnect from the Bluetooth settings. Now, the app is pretty much what we've come to expect from Bose. Not too complicated. You can set up different modes, and if you want immersive audio or not, the paired device list like we mentioned, an EQ, and unfortunately only the ability to change what the long press control does. Then there's sound. These buds can get loud and you'll definitely need that outdoors. But if there's a lot of background noise, then you'll easily reach max volume. The Huawei Free Clip, on the other hand, can reach higher peak volume. The maximum on the Bose is about 70% on the Free Clip. The bass is okay-ish, and cranking it up in the EQ barely did much. But yes, you do get a 3-band EQ in the app to do some tweaking. You can also turn on auto volume in the app, which will adjust the volume based on your environment. It'll crank it up in noisy places and turn it down when it's quiet. This is by no means revolutionary. The Huawei Free Clip and Sony Link Buds also have this. Now, the Bose do support Snapdragon sound, but only interesting if your phone supports it, and let's be honest, these buds are not exactly going to be used for critical listening. But compared to the Huawei Free Clip, we like the Huawei. They sound brighter with cleaner vocals, whereas the Bose sounds somewhat veiled. But again, neither should be bought for the best audio experience. What's not cool on the Bose is the slight white noise you hear when listening to the buds at lower volumes in quiet areas. Shout out to Benzo97 for drawing our attention to that one. And playing Spotify and YouTube music was fine, but when you play a YouTube video on an iPhone, the buds play a tune that it only does when you start a phone call. That's annoying because you miss a little part of the video every time since you first hear that tune and then the video. Alright, should you get it? At $300 or 350 euros, these are super hard to recommend. Just comparing it to the 200 euro Huawei Free Clip, the Bose loses out on many things. The Huawei, with the same great comfort, sound, and battery life, brings wireless charging, an IP54 rating, a wear sensor, and multi-point to the table. But we know the Huawei isn't available everywhere in the world, so let's look at some alternatives, shall we? There are so many good open earbuds with a normal hook-style design. You've got a longtime favorite like the Oladance Open Wearable Stereo 2 at $150 with great comfort, long battery life, and multi-point. Or the Soundcore AeroFit Pro at $170, which also come with good old buttons but supports multi-point, great comfort, and really good sound quality. Or maybe a more familiar brand like Shox. Their Open Fit is a bit pricier at $180, but they are super lightweight, have a strong IP54 rating, and support multi-point. But I hear you, you're tight in budget, no sweat. Tozo has got you covered with the Open Buds at, get this, $70. Yeah, $70. They've got a nice bassy sound signature, they're very comfortable with adjustable ear hooks, as well as extensive controls, multi-point, and battery life. As you can see, there's a lot out there. But lucky for you, we've already compared all of those open earbuds and more in this video. The reason we can do all of this is because of you guys, our patrons and YouTube members. We have a strict policy of never accepting money from brands whose products we review. We think that keeps us and the content as unbiased and independent as possible. So thank you guys for all the support, and as always, a special thanks to Hunter, Paula, and Gamma Panda.
You've been flirting with Ultra Bose rings.
And we've been DHRME. Doei! But how do they do against the Huawei? Well, come see our popsicles, icicles, and testing of the claims of companies. Yeah, what did you expect to see?